Hey, real estate fans, it's Nova back with my Supernova Real Estate Report. And today I wanted to talk about something recently that was an event that I wanted to make big, but it was made much smaller by a good friend of mine. Thank you, Brian Calvo from Guild Mortgage. That really kind of woke me up to reclaiming my value, which I feel like was set aside or I just kind of lost track of in my business worth. Um, Pretty significant. This this all comes from actually in 15 years, I just received my first one-star review. I've never had less than a five-star review in my time. Granted, my clients have been wonderful when we have gone through some extreme hardships and difficulties getting through transactions. And, they still stuck by me and completely 100% support me as I do them. Because that's the role I take on as a fiduciary in me supporting you and buying a home with your life savings, right? Your future savings, the investments for your future, your legacy. It's a massive honor, and I love being a part of those moments. Oh my God, so much. It's pretty much why I'm in this business because it exercises that part of me that I like to be a part of big moments in people's lives, and real estate lets me do that, right? With that, the this one-star review came when I fired a client. In real estate, sometimes as a broker, we have to know where our time value proposition is. And when we're being run in circles and being like, is this uh, client suiting me and my business growth and anxiety and other stresses that come along with this, right? Is this a place where I want to put my time? And I was talking about this client who was pre-qualified because we do have our, we verify clients as clients should verify us. Are you a qualified buyer? And once you become a qualified buyer, you become a client instead of just a prospect. With that, I was sitting at lunch with my buddy, and we were talking about this client who pre-approved him, and he was substantially pre-approved for a seven-figure purchase. And my buddy said, Nova, I've been doing business with you for 12 years now. Let go of this client. And I was like, what? And he was like, you are too much of an expert in this business now to be putting up with this kind of basically ignorance, right? And as my job is to teach clients what the market is like, what they can expect versus what they read, because having general scopes of understanding versus the actual hands-on experiences, sometimes there are large gaps in that. And that's what I'm here for, to fill those spaces. And then guide you across those spaces to our goals, right? And then we have to set up those goals together because you have a concept in your mind, but without real knowledge, we can't set up real goals to get you there. This one client really wanted a starting out with a 10% investment or return on their investment for a rental property with only a 3% down payment on a seven-figure loan purchase, which in itself, just from those conversations, you're just like, that's not really going to work. And they're like, why? These loans are approved, which they are. You can get an FHA loan for a multifamily with up to 4 units on it with that. But the biggest factor that was missing in that client's knowledge was competition. When competition is buying properties for cash, and you have to be a competing offer and show how you are purchasing these properties, sellers get to decide whether or not they want to go into business with you in closing this deal. And when you give a contract, an offer to a seller, along with the other competing offers, they compare them, and it's not a comparable risk for certain clients or for sellers when they see that kind of buyer. And you explain that to them, and then they contest, because, of course, in order to be able to qualify for that kind of loan, you have built your career, you've built your success, and that is admirable, right? And so you have all your knowledge and expertise in college too, and you're like, okay, this is something I can do. So I've created a personal rule that usually clients like this, we have to lose 2 deals before they decide to come fully on board with the methods that it's going to take for us to win, and go down that road with me, and they'll accept, my expertise after that, because, we're all know-it-alls, and God knows I am so guilty of that. My apologies for all those situations with clients where, Nova knows, and then Nova doesn't know, and to my friends. God. Hypocrisy. It's what's for dinner. So I get this 1-star review, and the 1-star review happened after I was recommending a property to my client that I really thought was incredible. And in 15 years, I've never lost a penny for a client on a deal. And during me showing the client and explaining to them all the pros of buying this property, there were new standards that they created of which they thought they should be able to purchase a property with. And I was like, where did you get the standards? And they were like, well, I talked to somebody else in the business and they told me this. And at that point, I had to say to them, I was like, well, it's been about 2 months where I've been working and proposing and trying to show you the path of what it's going to take and what kind of property we're going to get with the money we have available in the other circumstances. And you're moving the goalposts now in the 11th hour again. And I've spent a lot of my time doing this. And I've said, unfortunately, I have to let you go. They got very mad. Because we get close, right? Working months, we talk daily. We have a lot of frank conversations. I'm very, personable, because we got to build it's an intimate relationship that's business. But, I'm dealing with all your fears and anxieties about the losses and everything that you could be taking place, and trusting somebody with that livelihood that you're risking is massive. And that takes time, and it's a process. And this client at the time got so mad that they went on every place that I post reviews, which mainly for me is on Zillow, because Zillow is the most seen for reviews, and so that's where I direct my clients to write reviews at. And I was a little shocked to see the 1-star review. Of course, I went through my beginning anger, frustration. I wanted to overcompensate and whatever in my head. But then I was like, you know what? This is actually a 5-star review, because you get to reply to reviews, because I was actually standing up for my value, and that review continually now is a reminder for what I'm worth, because that client's reaction to them wanting revenge for me saying our values don't mix, because what I'm trying to deliver to you professionally and what the market is telling us that we can purchase is not in alignment with you, and I can't find a unicorn. because they don't exist. And I apologize, and we must now split ways. And that, to me, is holding to my value instead of almost kind of going through an abusive cycle with a client, right? And which happens at times, which happens over experiences in all businesses where you have tough clients or people that have their own eccentricities, and we deal with them. And sometimes those eccentricities are angry phone calls or drunk phone calls too, of them explaining something that uncle or something told them that they should be doing, but what their information they're getting has no contextual knowledge to our actual environment. And so that was and is a continued growth point for me, and something I want to remind myself and my clients and other real estate brokers of: your value is worthwhile. The market determines where that value is going to be put, not your broker, not what you read on a blog, not you. I get to guide, and you get to be guided with your input and goals to what we can find that match them close enough, right? Because everybody wants a mansion for $500,000, and we can barely even buy a plot of land for $500,000 in the Seattle metro area now. And what was usually said, champagne tastes and beer money. And not to put that down, because all of these figures I'm talking about are massive, and to be admired that we have and you have grown your wealth to a point where we can make any sort of purchase. That's a massive feat that is becoming rarer and rarer for people. And it needs to be celebrated. You're celebrated, and in that celebration, we need to honor our value, honoring my value, me honoring your value, and then us honoring the value of the market and what it says that value is worth, and us, having to swallow pride, which, I have to do all the time because of, my ego gets bigger than these shoes enough, that it's like, get down on the floor again and remember, we're here together, and we can't control this river. We just get to guide ourselves through it. And real estate is fantastic at mirroring that back, right? And showing us that somebody's 1-star review is actually your 5-star review, because you deserve to keep your value. You deserve to be your value and maintain it, right? Because we get a limited time on this little blue pebble floating through space at 64,000 miles an hour. And how we use it, where we want to put our value, is up to us. Granted, it has its consequences, pros and cons in those places, but it is still up to us. And I appreciate you, and I thank you for your time. And this is Nova Shank with my Supernova Real Estate Report.